Hey guys, check out what I just scored from Kijiji, or Craigslist, basically the classified ads. Very rare, or at least what I consider rare in a decent kind of shape, is the Honda TRX200SX. As you guys may or may not know, I am a sucker for 80s Hondas mostly, but 80s in general. I love the 80s machines. Very simple, carbureted usually, and easy to work on. It's the type of machine you can kind of, wrench yourself. You don't need to take it to anyone to have fixed. Like, these new fancy EFI machines are great, but when something goes wrong, it's sometimes hard to diagnose. These older machines, it's a fun hobby to kind of resurrect them and get them running again, and that's what I love. If I see something on the classifieds like this, I just cannot resist. And at least in Canada, for example, if you search Kijiji right now for a 200SX TRX 4-tracks, there might be maybe, 5 across all of Canada that'll show up on the classifieds. So it's kind of rare because they're loved. People hold on to them. People hold on to these old Hondas. And this is the story behind this one. And before I get into it, I just wanted to quickly show you the condition of what it is when I bought it, because frankly, I'm going to be replacing a lot of stuff on this thing, and I want a record of what it looked like before I started any work on it. This is how I picked it up. So I'm going to give you guys some tips about how to find deals on Craigslist and Kijiji. And why don't we do that right now before I kind of get into everything I want to change and upgrade on this. So yeah, let's talk about ways to score yourself a deal on the local classifieds. So I wish I could give you guys a magic solution to finding the best Craigslist, Kijiji classified deal there is. But unfortunately it just boils down to a lot of browsing. And yes, there are ways that you can use either Kijiji or Craigslist for, and just for our American friends out there, Kijiji is the eBay version of the classified ads. Kijiji Google it if you want, but Kijiji is used in Canada. Craigslist is mostly used in the States. Doesn't matter what you use. So if you're searching for a Banshee, you could have your classified system notify you whenever a new post comes up with the word Banshee in it. But quite often you'll find the best deals from people who don't know how to advertise their vehicles properly. So for example, a person selling a Banshee may not actually advertise it as Yamaha Banshee. Maybe they'll just post ATV for sale. Again, if the seller isn't using the keywords that you're looking for, you'll never find it. So it all comes down to a lot of browsing, constantly camping the classifieds, and being ready to pull the trigger at an instant's notice and heading off and buying that ATV or vehicle, dirt bike, whatever you're looking for when it pops up. Don't let the other person who's also interested in this ATV or dirt bike get it before you. Yes, maybe it's easier for you to come on a Saturday to go have a look at it, but if they post it on a Tuesday, be ready to go Tuesday night. If you do go through the week at after work, for example, make sure to bring a flashlight or something very bright to adequately allow you to see the ATV or dirt bike that you're purchasing. Quite often this time of year is a good time to get deals also, because people have put Christmas presents on their credit card, and for the last couple months they've been able to keep it on their credit card, but now maybe they're seeing that they need to make some extra money, so the toys need to go. The wife's nagging. This is what I call Kijiji hunting time of year, or Craigslist hunting time of year. If you've got disposable income, it might be a good time to secure some deals. Don't waste your time with sellers that have unrealistic expectations. Know your market, know what a vehicle goes for, and be prepared to pull the trigger if that vehicle appears at a price range you know is a fair price. So with that in mind, let's head back outside and I'll show you what I looked for when I went to pick up this most recent ATV I purchased, and the type of things I was paying particular attention to make sure that it was in a condition I was happy with. So when this beauty popped up on the local classifieds, I was very intrigued. First of all, they said in the ad, it said missing clutch cable, no power coming out of the solenoid, the starter doesn't work, no front brakes, and I can't really remember what else, but that was the first thing that kind of caught my attention. Was they said that it was missing a clutch cable. Well, these things, as some of you may or may not know, are a centrifugal or centripetal. I don't know exactly what you want to call it, but it's a centrifugal style clutch. You don't pull a lever for the clutch. Once the RPM reaches a certain speed, the clutch opens up and engages, similar to how drum brakes work. It opens up and causes friction, and that's what grabs the clutch. You don't need to pull on a clutch lever. So I emailed them. I was just like, can I talk to you about it? Because that's what I recommend doing. If you guys are interested in something, get a hold of the seller right away. Don't text or email and just hope they get back to you. You know, it's fine to text or email a person, but if they're not getting back to you, you know, make sure to give that number a call. Maybe it's a landline, maybe it's not a cell phone number. And responsiveness and someone talking to someone goes a long way when you're selling something. As a seller, if I get, you know, talking to someone who sounds interested in something, I will treat them with, you know, I'll assume that they will want to buy it maybe more than just someone emailing me saying, would you accept this, before even talking to me about it. I want to hear someone's interested in something before I take them seriously. So I gave this guy a call and, you know, I said, does it smoke when it runs? Like, he told me that the electric start didn't work, but these machines, as most of these older machines do, it also has a secondary pull start to it. So I asked him, you know, when you start it up, does it smoke? Does it idle okay? Does it run okay? Does it sound okay? So then he said to me, well, to be honest, I got this in a storage locker auction, which right away I thought, hey, that's awesome. He's like, I got it in a storage auction last week. I just want to make a few bucks off it. I don't know anything about machines. I took it to my mechanic and he said it needed the clutch cable and he said this and that. Well, clearly a lot of mechanics these days don't know anything about these classic old machines, and they don't even probably want to put any time into it. They just think it's worthless and you should just get what he can get for it. And hey, all the better for me. So he tells me this. He tells me how, you know, as soon as he found out the electric start wasn't working, he tried pulling the ripcord a couple times, but it didn't start, so he gave up after that. And his mechanic told him that the solenoid was not getting power out, you know, on the other side of it. Well, I can tell you right now, after getting it home, there's nothing wrong with the solenoid. They were just, you know, using an old battery, and I don't know why the mechanic didn't hook it up to a fresh battery to test it, but again, their loss, my gain. So when you go to check out a vehicle, so I get there and, well, on the phone with him, after he tells me that, you know, it's a storage locker auction, he just wants to flip it for a few bucks. I said, look, you're asking a reasonable price for it. If I can start it in your driveway, I'll give you asking price for it. And he said, yeah, that sounds fair enough, so why don't we do that? So that's my next suggestion when it comes to Kijiji deals. A lot of people get very hung up about, you know, bartering with someone. So it doesn't matter what the seller has posted a vehicle for, they always want to try to feel like they're getting a deal by driving the price down a couple $100. Know your market. Know what a vehicle is worth. Do your research. Look at previous sales. Even go to eBay. Sometimes eBay's a good, you can check eBay's completed auctions, or you can even search for, you know, Craigslist and Kijiji past sales to see what vehicles have been posted for, and just know what a good deal is. If someone posts a vehicle for $1,200 and, you know, you haven't seen anything posted for less than that, don't try to get them down to $1,100. Just be happy that someone's posted something, you know, that you're happy with for $1,200. So after talking to him on the phone, I, you know, was pretty excited. Hey, a storage locker fine? That's amazing. He doesn't want it. Well, you know, let me check it out to see what kind of condition it's in, and we'll go from there. So first thing I did when I got to the seller's place is I removed the seat and I checked the air filter. And the air filter was disgusting. Let me show you a picture of that. Disintegrating, clearly hadn't been used in a long time, so it did kind of make sense that this guy got it from a storage locker. So it had signs of being outside. Like, as you can see, there's surface rust on this thing. Check out the rear axle here. But that's not necessarily indicative of a harsh life. You know, it still has the original stickers on this Honda aftermarket hitch. Other things I looked for right away were things like this, the rubber grommets. So these are not grommets rather, but the rubber connectors. That is a sign, since it still has the original one of those, that again, it wasn't beat on its whole life. The rear box, opening that up, I would check that. A little bit of damage back there. It kind of looks like heat damage for some reason, so I'm assuming that was, you know, something to do with the muffler overheating at one point. But it looks like it has the original toolkit in here still. It even does have the original toolkit or box. I don't know what you call this specifically, but this is something that always gets broken, unfortunately. And even the 250SX ATC that I had that came with this, just from, you know, normal trail riding, unfortunately it broke. So the fact that this has the box on it, that immediately told me something, that again, this was in decent shape. Next thing I would do is just kind of shake the ATV back and forth. You know, does it feel like all the bushings or bearings are going to need replaced, or does it feel fairly tight? Luckily, this one felt pretty tight. The foot pegs, that's another thing to look for. How straight are they? Quite often, if people have been rough on a machine, you'll see that those foot pegs are bent from people running into things, stones, stumps, what have you. The plastics on this are, I would consider, maybe 6 out of 10, 6.5 out of 10. There's some major pitting on the plastic, and I've actually never seen pitting this bad on Honda original plastic. So if any of you guys have any idea what would cause this type of pitting, and it's only in specific spots. There's no pitting on the front fenders. They're very smooth, like a typical Honda fender. Same with the red plastic. It's only the rear. A lot of spider webbing. I have no reason to believe the person replaced the rears, but again, it's kind of a strange thing. So I get there, going back to my story about how I got this, still not knowing if it's a good deal or not, but seeing it before even trying to start it up, I was already pretty happy. Yes, surface rust, but other than that, looks like it's fairly well taken care of. So I was going to try to start it up. Removed the air filter, cleaned out as much of the little foam bits as I could, grabbed some quick start, squirted it down its throat, and leaving the key off, pulled the ripcord a couple times with the throttle fully open just to suck the quick start into the carb. And then I looked at the seller and I turned the key on and made sure the kill switch was set to run. And I said, let's see how she goes. One pull. At the end of the engine turning over, it almost sounded like it wanted to catch. And I looked at it and I go, oh, she wants to go. One more pull, it idled for 4 seconds. The next pull, after we're withholding the throttle about a quarter, I would say, it started up and it stayed running. And I was like, all right, go get the paperwork done. I'll get this loaded in the trailer. And shut her off, and I haven't turned it on since. Because, obviously, I want to go through a bunch of things before I do too much running. One other thing I did is I looked in the fuel tank to make sure that the metal tank wasn't completely rusted out. There's definitely some rust in there, but nothing that I'm worried about. These machines have a fuel filter at the bottom of the petcock. Stock. It's kind of hard to see here, but I'm going to open that up and have a look. So what I'm going to do before starting it up, obviously, is change the oil, change the air filter. I've already ordered a Una air filter from there. These are chain drives, so if you get a chain drive, it's very important for older machines that you don't skimp on the drive chain. I'm not going to try to clean this. Looking at the sprocket, I don't know if you guys can see, but it's not horrible. I could potentially keep that sprocket and run with it, but on eBay, chains come kind of with sprocket, both front and rear combos, for a decent deal, so there's no point in me ordering just a chain. I might as well order everything. And the reason I say that is because if you skimp out and don't properly and make sure your chain's working, what can happen is a chain drive vehicle, if a chain fails, your chain will get bunched up near the case here, and with the front sprocket still moving and the chain bunched up, you can actually crack your case, and that's what destroys these machines. So why would you ever spend even $500 on a machine if you're not going to then spend the extra 30-40 bucks to buy a new chain to make sure that it doesn't snap on you, it doesn't bunch up, and it doesn't cause some serious engine damage? Because aside from that, these Honda engines will run forever. So, new chain, new sprockets, new air filter, change the oil. There's no differentials on these to change the oil on that, so I don't have to worry about that. I will open up the drum brakes and probably replace those. Again, eBay, you can usually get drum brakes for about 30 or 40 bucks. These tires, I'll run with them for as long as they last. If they fail, I'm not going to tube them. I'll just replace them with, some new tubeless rubber. Check the bushings on this, but in my case, these bushings are decent. I don't need to worry too much about that. I've ordered a new brake cable from eBay again. That was the missing clutch cable that the seller thought it was missing. I already tested the reverse on it. The reverse is operated by this little lever that's attached to your front brake here. Or sorry, this is a rear brake. It's attached to the rear brake. You pull that, it activates a switch down here and allows you to go into reverse by pushing it down. I've already confirmed that that works fine. So I'm really looking forward to fixing this up and making this a daily rider. I've ordered a new seat cover. I'm not going to worry too much about the plastics. I'll maybe do the old zip tie trick, but someone's done a metal bracket fix, and that's probably just as good. Don't care about the pitting, frankly, but I'm curious about it. And new spark plug on it. Obviously fresh gas. I'm going to drain whatever gas is left in there completely out. Clean the fuel screen that's going into the petcock, and then I'll also remove the carburetor, give it a cleaning. I don't think I'm going to go for a rebuild kit. I'm just going to try cleaning it to start with. Shoot some air pressure through the passages and soak all the parts in parts cleaner. And I'm really looking forward to showing you guys what this is going to look like in about a month or two once I have all the maintenance done to it. I'm excited about it. I think it's gonna be a great little machine and should last me another couple decades easily. And like I said, it's a good buddy machine or girlfriend machine because it's an automatic clutch system. Yes, it has gears, but there's no manual clutch to pull, so you just let off the throttle and change gears. So stay tuned for more updates on this, but I hope in the meantime you guys take some notes from the tips I've given you, and if you find any good deals, I want to hear about it. I want to see the video, so share and post a link to it. Cheers, guys.